Good evening, everyone. Hi,
Hi,
Charlene.
everybody.
Hi, Soltanic. Hi, Campaign Terrain. Hi, Loosely Collected. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. We've had a bit of a conversation before you showed up. I think
Yeah,
lots of people are eager to see you. So,
there's a very active chat.
our guest today is Daði from the MysticArts, and as Soltanic said, it's a new and growing channel. It's very new and it's growing very fast.
That's true. It's been a crazy last year for us. It's just bizarre.
So, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself before we start to go into your channel and the all the lovely stuff that you've been publishing?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Daði. I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for over 11 years. I run a YouTube channel called MysticArts with my girlfriend AB, who's sitting barely visible, maybe I don't know, behind me, and we started this back in November 2024, and about I think 8 months later, we decided to go for making this our living, and we mostly do that thanks to the incredible support we've had on Patreon, where we publish these sort of PDFs of like monsters and new classes, species, additional rules like how to do hex crawls and dungeon turns in 5th edition. And we've been fortunate enough to actually be able to do this, which has been just a spectacular thing I never would have thought would have happened when we started this such a short time ago.
Okay, I'm going to go back to what you said. You've been DMing for 11 years, but given how many games you DM in a week, I don't think that really gives the picture.
No, I think there's that classic phrase about like something taking 10,000 hours to master something, and I'm because I keep like spreadsheets of every game I run, I know that I'm only a couple of hundred hours away at this point, which because I run many games a week, and sometimes it's long sessions. They're usually 5 hours, and I love this. This is my favorite thing that I do just ever. So I kind of I have a lot of opinions, so I'll be talking to my friends about it, and they'll all sort of roll their eyes, and eventually they were like, "You need to go talk to somebody else about this." We started posting on the internet.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I mean, like, your opinions have been super interesting, and there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, I've been playing tabletop role-playing games since the last millennium, and there was some super useful stuff in your streams. I mean, like, and your videos. I
Oh,
mean, like, I've recently been able to use the one about dungeon terms, for example. I managed to clutch that into my Dungeon Jam adventure. So, yeah,
oh yeah,
super actionable.
yeah. That was a weird one. That's one of our most sort of successful things that we put up on the Patreon in terms of like subscriptions and sales and that kind of thing. And it's given us a bit of ease because going into this year we were kind of nervous about the financing of this whole thing because we've got art that we're commissioning, and we have a full-time or a half-time like 50% employee writer. So there's a lot of costs about doing what we're doing, and we've managed to save up over the course of last year. But heading into January now, we were really anxious, and luckily we put up that video and talking about those dungeon rules, and they're really basic. And I didn't initially want to do them because to me they seemed so simple that I was like, I don't know that we need to make a system for this. And in the broadsheets that we'd been doing up until that point, we've done 3 issues already, and all of the adventures use this kind of language where it's like, once 10 minutes have gone by, have this happen, or roll this die, just because it's such a nice thing as a designer and as a DM to like hang your hat on, to be like, okay, when we've been playing for a little bit, once they've searched a couple of rooms, just roll a die and see what happens because all the table. And somewhere along the way, like, that kept getting requested from our patrons on the Discord. They were like, can you talk about these dungeon turn rules? And I was like, it's just you track 10 minutes, and then you either like roll a die after 10 or after 30 or after 60. Like it's just a tool. I don't know that it's like a rule or a mechanic or a system as much as it is just a way to keep things in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. The concept of tracking the passage of time in a game isn't new,
Yeah.
but
No.
most times I would have heard it before. I was like, yeah, that sounds boring. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, here's a simple way to do it. You keep these boxes and
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where it's like, how often have we heard that Gary Gygax quote about like you have to track time, and it's like, okay, what does that mean? What do I do with that information? So sometimes, like, when we find this when we're writing videos for the channel, sometimes it's like this bit of advice seems so simple, but maybe somebody hasn't heard it, or they haven't thought about it in this one particular way, or whatever it is. So it's sort of different. What I like about what we do is that different people have different favorite videos or different favorite topics, or rules or whatever, where it's like, oh, this really cracked it for me. I was talking to Peter on Wednesday, and he
Mhm.
was saying that it was there was a video we did. I think it was our sixth video or something, seventh maybe, where we're talking about like rendering was the language I used, where it's like you
That was
describe
also a
something.
really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, you describe something and then you just describe it again, but with slightly more detail, or you add a little detail every now and again, so that you're sort of constantly bringing us back in. And I remember for me that was like I couldn't figure out how to make weather matter because in my head it's always sunny. And I was like, oh yeah, I just have to continually say, oh, you walk down the street through the rain, and my players all go, oh, it's raining, and okay, you step underneath and you can hear the rain bashing against the windows or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, it's raining, and it just sort of continually adds it into the collective imagination, and that's one of those things where it's like you have to keep saying the thing, you know what I mean, or like with the rules, you have to just make it matter in the dungeon rules.
There are actually a couple of points that I want to ask you about
Yeah,
from Peter's interview, but we'll get to that once we
sure.
talk more about your setting. Because, yeah, I think that's the big thing about the broadsheets that you're publishing. It's you're building up this. I don't even think that's correct because your world is already built up. You're just putting it into chunks for other people to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff I already know back to front. There's the beauty of getting to do the broadsheet is that I get to spend more time on thinking about this stuff. So like like the issue that's coming out on early next week, the fifth issue of the broadsheet is all about this part of my setting that I've known has existed for ages, but now I actually had to go write 6 pages about the individual shops in that area or something like that, and that sort of allows me to a little bit just dig deeper into it, and that's been lovely. But this city itself, Blackguard, the one that's featured in the broadsheets, I've been playing in almost since the very beginning. That's kind of where my D&D experience started, and back then it was Pathfinder. So
So, Campaign Terrain is saying one of the most quoted books in history, The Art of War, is basically a book of simple but vital reminders. Reminders and
yeah,
simplicity are good. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like Sun Tzu's out there going, "Hey, have you guys tried lying and fire? Like those are crazy."
Okay, so tell us a bit about your world, the world that Blackguard is set.
Yeah, it's a part of this sort of grander campaign world called Orathon, which is kind of my kitchen sink. Like it's got the all the things, it's got Vikings up north, and it's got this elves constantly locked in civil war to the south. It's got this nation of knights and wizards fighting dragons, and then one of those nations is Atraxia, which is a sort of industrializing 18th century empire, and it's very inspired by the Dutch, French, or English empires of the 18th century. And following, so there was like 19 years ago, there was a war called the Last War, where everything changed, and in the broadsheet, then this Atraxian empire has now kind of become this center of the Pax Atraxia, this kind of global peace that they maintain. And obviously that is difficult to write about without sort of drawing drawing inspiration from the Pax Britannica or the Pax America, where it's these things, these sort of empires overreaching into other nations and stuff like that. But it's different from your traditional D&D fantasy in that it's industrialized. It's got motor vehicles, so there are, like, we call them hazies, these cars. There are flintlock firearms, printing presses. The next issue is all about the district and the company that controls the printing press.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, train exactly on the cover. So the first one we ever did, we wanted to make sure to sort of drop you right in the middle of it. And in the first issue, we wrote a tense mystery on a train. It's called the Night Train, and in that you find yourself kind of landing in the middle of this secret faction conflict between the Hidden Hand and the Masticord, and these are these two sort of factions that are um, fighting an underground, like undercover war over like resources and magic items and stuff like that inside the city. And after that, you're off to the races, and it's fun. What's fun about writing the broadsheet is that we do like an adventure every issue, and then we do a setting. So what you're showing right now, I think, is the Argent Sector map,
Yeah.
which is just a burrow that's in that part of the issue. And what we do with that is all those locations have a little description about them. It's nothing crazy, but attached to it there is a total of 12, I think, plot hooks, which is just a little seed to bounce over to the DM to go, okay, I've shown you one adventure. Surely you can now take the wheel and do a few more. And then next month, you'll get another adventure from us and a whole bunch of other seeds that you can connect into your own sprawling story.
Okay,
And
so that's
it's so fun.
on the second one, it would be a different district, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's the interchange. You get you get another district, and that one's very different. So Argent Sector is very sort of industrial. It's the home of the trains, and Silver Street, where the forges and stuff like that is located in the city. The interchange is more kind of markets and stuff like that, more kind of barter and trade. And most of these boroughs are in private ownerships, owned by these sort of gargantuan mega corporations that own these districts. They collect taxes, they take care of law enforcement. But the nation itself is supposedly a democracy, but these sort of individual boroughs are essentially like corporate autocracies. So there's a lot of like politics going on, but the base, because right now the issues are being written for like the corresponding level. So issue 1 is for level 1, issue 2 is for level 2.
oh, okay.
So it starts off like very basic in terms of what's going on, but then as the issues go on, it'll build up to this whole campaign where you're hopefully like getting involved in the shape of the nation or the politics and stuff like that.
Yeah, while we're on these, I just want to take a second to show off the fantastic artwork on them, because
Yeah.
some really amazing work.
This is our in-house artist Brimrun. She does incredible work. She does like 10 or 11 art pieces for us a month, including like the cover and lots of the interiors. We do some stuff with the stock art and the maps I tend to do, and my girlfriend AB does additional art as well. But these sort of pieces that we really want to capture the tone and look, they all come from her. And that one's that's a fire giant with a Gatling gun shooting at a pair of adventurers. Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not? Like if they're industrializing, the bad guys get to industrialize too, right?
Of course. Okay, and just give me a second. I want to show off some of the character art, because that's also really good.
Oh yeah. She's great at characters. Whenever I get her to draw City Street, she's always like, "Fine, I'll draw another City Street, but you got to give me some characters next time." So that's Raymond Graves. He's a bureau agent, but he's secretly working for one of these factions, the Hidden Hand. Spoilers if you're going to play this. And then you've got, what's her name? Lucinda Bell. Yeah, she's like a southern noblewoman. And just a little bit above is my favorite character, Archibald Cheddarfield.
I think it's everyone's favorite character.
Right? Look at that guy. This stuff makes me like cackle with joy. I mean, how lucky that I get to sort of write this stuff out and share it with people. Yeah, it's amazing. There's a few folks on the Discord who are running this, who are on our membership Discord, and they're like starting to craft fan theories about how everything connects and stuff like that. It's the best thing in the world.
Okay, and hi Lisa, good to see you. And if anyone in the chat has any questions, please feel free to drop them in. And let's see. Also, also since we're still on these, I just wanted to bring these up because you've built up quite an awesome studio.
Yeah, it's 5 of us now. sort of working together on this fairly regularly. It's
Oh, great.
myself and AB, and then our lead artist Primrun, and our lead writer Magnus, and then my flatmate Ivar, who does all the mini painting and stuff like that you see in videos. And I regularly go bounce ideas off of him when I'm stuck. And he's played with me since the very beginning. We played our first session together and have been playing ever since.
Oh, okay.
At this point, like especially he and Magnus, but like just the core group of players, AB as well, they all know the setting so much that if I'm ever stuck with a broadsheets, I have the absolute privilege of getting to go to my players and be like, what should I put in this building? And they're like, oh, you should do this. And
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
that's amazing.
Okay, the question I had about your world, it was something that you mentioned in Peter's interview, was that like, yeah, I'm going to have trains, I'm going to have guns, I'm going to have the printing press, but for example, not the telegraph or not
Yeah.
telephones or so. So, how did you choose? How do you choose what to put in, what not to put in, and so on?
Wow, I don't know. It's so much of it is gut instinct. But that's coming from somewhere, I assume. Like, I don't know that I can put a finger on it. Like, like with the telegrapher, there's some things that just tickle my funny bone in a way that I'm like, oh, I don't know that I'm going too far at this point. Like there are certain sort of story elements of fantasy that I want to keep. The idea of like the fastest way to like I want news to take a while to travel because once you get
Okay.
instant messaging, you get a very different shape of the world. And same, so that takes out the telegraph and stuff like that. I don't use like teleportation that much or things like that anymore. Um, then there is I really like this idea in particular in spy fiction. I watch a lot of like spy TV shows and stuff like that. There's the idea of not knowing what someone looks like. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll just say that I'm the guy and nobody knows what he looks like, so I'll just go there and pretend to be him. So like photographs are out because if you've easy access to photographs, printing photographs, stuff like that, then you would know what everybody looks like. Same with like because the information age and the way we treat information in terms of like how instant it is and how accurate it is, uh, brings it just too modern for me.
Yeah.
So if it's crossing that boundary, I tend to want to cut it out. Whereas if it evokes kind of more of a swashbuckling adventure, Pirates of the Caribbean, or like the Sherlock movies, like those are sort of my touchstones. And if introducing something would ruin the premise of those things, then I tend to shy away from it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's also
So.
just I relate to this in terms of like sort of instant decision making. So much of this I've decided at the table, not in terms of writing the broadsheet.
Mhm.
And I relate that to being like when the first time I ever went on a film set and I was working as a director, and it wasn't just me behind the camera, but I had a crew. What happens very quickly, and this is you, if you're a dungeon master, you know this feeling, is that I realized that I couldn't do anything. I was used to being the one moving the lights and setting up the camera and stuff. But if I did that, then there were people who were waiting because they needed to ask me a question. So at a certain point on a film set, it gets hectic enough that the director isn't allowed to touch anything. And you just have to stand there. And then the costume person comes along and they're like, this one or that one. And you go, that one. And they go, glasses, no glasses, glasses. And then you don't know, you often can't explain your choices. You're just picking based on whatever's in your head. And that becomes sort of a crucial part of where you just sort of are making the gut thing of, no, I think that would be wrong. Oh, I think that would be right, and moving along that way.
That's interesting. I know that you just released a video about planning planning a game like a writer.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got experience in film, you've got experience in the video game industry. Which one is the closest, or which was the furthest to actually, sitting at the table and running a game? Or
I think video games.
okay.
I think video games because when you're writing or directing a film, you have the benefit of being able to like make sure that the lead character doesn't do something that would work but be boring. You can sort of write out those things. Whereas when you're doing a video game, your goal isn't to entertain an audience; it's to entertain the main character. And that difference, I think, is so stark because if you're making a scenario for it to exclusively be dramatic, but it would suck to play through, um, you can do that in a film. You can make the main character be miserable and in a bad mood and all that stuff. You can't really do that in a video game because the player needs to want to play the game. So whenever you're trying to set something up in a video game, you're trying to take the controller, like in for like Echoes of the End that I worked on, you take the controller away from the player for just a little bit, tell them all the important stuff, and then you hand them the controller back, and then your hands off. Like the player gets to do what they want to do next. And that's like RPGs because you're like, here's all the stuff you need to take away. Here's all the stuff you need to know, and then you go, what do you want to do? And then you just have to let them cook, right? You can't really get too involved at that point.
Speaking of Echoes of the End, I really enjoyed the puzzles in that game.
Yeah, yeah. John, my friend John, who I've run D&D for exactly like for one adventure, but that dude loves puzzles. I had a lot of fun playtesting on those. He would make them so intricate. Like those puzzles, people have talked about like, oh God, they're so complicated. I play tested through so many of them, and my gut instinct was always, John, we gotta rein it in. And he was like, yeah, I know. But he starts with the craziest version and then sort of tries to make it work in the end, which, don't we all do that, right?
So speaking of puzzles, do you use them a lot in your games or at all? And if so, what kind of puzzles do you go for?
Unlimited. I'm not very puzzle minded myself in terms of these things. I think the first time I did one in a while was my last sort of session of my main game, and then it was a bit of lore. I was like, there are nine in the this is deep history of my setting nonsense, but there are nine heroes that fought Tiamat at the age of dusk in the deep history of my setting. Three of them died in the fight. Can you name them? And my players have been playing with me long enough that they could, but they were like, oh, we have to go get out our notes and we have to go figure this out. And I was like, guys, you can just play the adventure and there will be clues. And they were like, oh, right, yeah. But they were like, no way I can remember all these names. You told them to me several years ago. And I'm like, yeah, but that's fine. Just go like explore the dungeon. Like if I do a puzzle, it's usually sort of a way to go, and now you can go explore the dungeon. So I ran a spaceship once, and I think this adventure is on the Patreon. The GSS Centurion. The spaceship had crashed in D&D land, very expedition to Barrier Peaks, and the players go in, and they can explore the entire spaceship except the bridge, which is the final boss room, because all the doors to the bridge are locked through the computer, and the computer is off. And all over the ship, there are cores that if you plug them into the computer, it gains more intelligence. It gets smarter. And once it gets to a certain number of cores, it gets smart enough to de-encrypt the bridge doors to open them. Now, is that a puzzle? Like when they enter that room, they don't know what's going on. But over time, they realize, oh, we're just collecting these bits to put into the key. Like these are 5 keys that we put into the lock, and then we can open that door. Like those sort of things where you have to go explore, I think are useful. But I don't know that I do much more complicated than that.
I mean, as long as the table enjoys it, you don't need to get more
Yeah,
complicated.
exactly. Sometimes it's just, I find a lot of it is just giving the player characters the excuse that the players want. Like the players want to go explore the dungeon and go look at everything. So if you just tell them, hey, you can't do more until you explore the dungeon, then the characters they're role playing go, all right, let's risk our lives and explore the dungeon. And now they're like, it becomes ludonarrative harmony. The game and the story, the ludonarrative, are now working together to create the experience that everybody wants, as opposed to it sort of fighting each other, which is always rough, right? And that's why it's more video game than film, because ludonarrative harmony matters in video games. It doesn't matter on film.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the players are there to play, so we just give them an excuse to play, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like 100%.
Thinking about it, that makes a lot more sense than, again, like we were talking about before. It's a very simple concept. I mean, they want to play, let them play. But I think in most cases I've seen puzzles done, it was more like, here's an obstacle, it's going to stop you until you figure this out.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm always trying to find excuses to make the players want to make the player characters want to do what the players want to do. So they're like, I made the current main game I'm running is all about like domain management. So I just make the domain be really good. So if you go work on the domain will be able to solve your problems. And now the player characters go, okay, so if we get this working, everything will become easier for us. So let's get this working. And now they have an excuse to care about the domain management. Whereas if I just go, and now you're responsible for this, they're like, oh, God, okay, fine, we have to go worry about this thing. But once you're getting something out of it, you're like, okay, yeah.
When you're talking about the domain, is that like managing your estate or country or castle or
Yeah,
farm or whatever, right?
yeah. They have they control like a frontier county in Atroxia,
Ooh.
and it's bankrupt and it's going broke and it's like it's terrible, terrible. But they're like they know that it could make them lots of money if they get it working and they can use that money to go do adventures and stuff like that. So they're like, okay, we are now supremely motivated to go work on this thing.
Okay, so let me see. I think this is one of your most recent rule specs.
Yeah.
And it was inspired by a bunch of minis you picked up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I have a bunch of Warhammer armies, and sometimes I use them as reference for like monsters I want to make, just because I like deploying weird monsters. This one was voted on by the patrons. I asked them ages ago. I was like, "What monster category do you want to see the most?" Tell the viewers about the economy spreadsheet. Oh God, I have a spreadsheet. It's huge. It tracks the economy of the thing. It's massive. Hang on. If I don't know if I can actually show this on stream. Like, I don't know if I can send it to you.
If you want to send a screenshot or something, I can.
Yeah, I can do that. What's it called? There we go.
See, and where did you send it?
Sent. So this is the sort of top line for the county as a whole, and then every town has its own string of cells in it.
Oh, good
I
Lord,
spent ages on this. I don't recommend this to anybody. At some point, I will make a domain system, and it'll work and be neat and fun. This isn't that. This is my neurosis run amok. This would never have happened if I'd started the YouTube channel three or 4 months earlier, but I didn't. So this happened instead. It's just so that second image is what every town looks like, and there's more. Like that's half of it.
So
and it's yeah, it kind of just goes crazy. But it tracks like tax rates and economy and growth, local development. So if they build roads, the development goes up. And then all those, so other per capita costs, that's all the stuff they're constructing. Yeah, the this is stupid. Like people are like, "Can you send this to me?" And I'm like, I guess, but this doesn't work. Like this isn't a game. This is a thing I use to track these things.
I mean,
I don't think it works unless you have
both
brain.
spectacular and terrifying.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but with the lizard folk, like I asked the patrons what they wanted to see, and that was the highest voted one. And I was like, God, but I want to make like 30 of them because I have so many minis, and I've been putting it off and off and off now for ages. But I've been slowly noodling away at them, and I finally finished it, and now I've got this sort of PDF of it, which is, well, I'm so happy I get to lay this out in PDF. I used to just do like Word docs and stuff on the Patreon, but I decided to put in a bit more effort. And me and AB taught ourselves InDesign, and it's been a blast.
Because I know that you're also using Obsidian a lot for layouts and stuff. Yeah, not layouts.
Yeah,
documentation.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. One of our patrons designed a like an SRD Obsidian. They're still working on it, but they're like adding all the bits from the 5e SRD into it. So I can just go and create a monster. I can go and grab a giant shark and copy it, and then add, 3 new features on it, mess with the stat blocks a little bit, rename it, and now it's a whole new monster, and I can go use that in my game instead of having to go through like the D&D Beyond homebrew screen or something insane like that. I could do this in a matter of minutes, and I've done it on stream like with viewers. We were like designing a boss battle once, and I was like, "What are we gonna do?" And we just sort of opened up one of these things, copied some stat block in there, and then started noodling with it until we were satisfied. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I managed to catch the dungeon building stream last week.
Yeah,
Usually, it doesn't really match up with my schedule, but it was a lot of fun.
yeah. Like, God, I love this. I love designing and creating stuff. I would be doing this for my own home game, even if I wasn't doing this YouTube thing. This is what I'd be doing.
So,
What's that?
Carpenter is saying, economy is stuff. Kudos to you and your spreadsheet. In many worlds of the TTRPG I'm rating, I got as far as writing a list of goods and prices, only to realize that each region will be different. Sad,
Yeah,
sad cat.
yeah. When they first arrived in that town, this is also what like making them wanna work on the domain, is that when they first arrived in that town, I was like, in this town, all the prices cost like are multiplied 150%. So, if something costs 10 gold, it costs 15 here. And then they went further into the county, and I was like, double
Because it's
prices in this
further
place.
away and better supplied and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, we gotta work on this. We can't be doing dungeon crawls and then having to go all the way back to civilization to buy rations at a regular price before we eat our rations on our way back into the frontier." And they were like, "We gotta go build a road or something." And yeah, that tells you a lot about the kind of games I run. uh, Crazy stuff. If you're a new
Interesting
DM,
way
don't
to
do this.
motivate them, though.
Don't do this. You could just fight rats in a basement and then give the players a magic sword afterwards, and they'll fucking love that. Like you don't need to go do all this crazy stuff.
Okay, sorry. I thought for a second I hadn't switched over yet, and I thought it was like, okay, you give them rats in the basement and they eat them instead of going to get the rations at normal prices.
No. Forget the spreadsheet. Just go fight rats in the basement. Go do a haunted house. I wrote a haunted house for one of the broadsheets. Go do that. Go you could do so much simpler stuff.
So let's see what Soltnik saying. Guys, you cannot just bring more wagons with food to make the campaign as long.
They were like, when they got a bag of holding, they were like, thank God we can now buy food cheaply and then stuff it all into the bag of holding. So they just have a bag of food holding that they keeps all their rations and nothing else, because it was better for them, like economically. It was so expensive.
No,
Cracks me up.
you've got to wonder how far you can stretch it, because that before that becomes the fantasy version of Oregon Trail.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's gotten dysentery yet. Although I did look into there's a thing called barber's chairs, which I was looking into, and I might try and put in. So there are various. Did you know trees are deadly? Like they might explode and stuff. Like if it gets really cold, the
Yeah, yeah.
the air inside a tree might explode out.
Hmm.
There's another one called a barber's chair where the rot will tear the tree apart and rotate it. So
Oh,
the
wow.
top bit of the tree might spin, and it's known for like killing woodcutters. And it can happen spontaneously to certain types of trees. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a random encounter out of this. So I might just go add that on my random encounter table. And if I get that result, it's like dex save, a tree is about to just pop out of the ground.
Yeah, nature is terrifying.
Yeah, like, ah, the real world is so fascinating. I'm routinely, people will be like, "Where do you get inspiration from?" And I'm like, I read Wikipedia. Like the world is insane, and you just go look at stuff. Yeah, like I've been recently going to bed. I could get on my phone and I read the history of ancient Rome right now, because it's just crazy the kind of stuff that happens, and you're like, okay, these are all real things. If I put this in my setting, my players will believe it because it sounds like something people would do, because it's real. Like,
Yeah, I mean, most of it is not very sensible, especially if you go towards late Imperial Rome. That some of that stuff is
yeah.
just literally. It's not,
So
why?
it's so crazy. You're just, and and like the loops, the logical loops people jump through. So the one thing I was catching on the now I'm not a historian. I don't know how true any of this is, but one thing I was reading on there was the idea that Romans didn't like the idea of kings.
Hmm.
So the title emperor, as we know it, the emperor of Rome, they never called him that. They would call him imperator, meaning commander of the army, or they would call him Augustus, meaning uh, ascending to divinity, or they would call him princeps, which is the first among equals, or they might call them all three. But he was never a king. He was never Rex,
Yeah.
because that would be too much. But obviously, he can do whatever he wants, and he's immune. And he's the law doesn't apply to them, and they can go commit crimes and get pardoned afterwards, and all those things. But he's not a king.
Yeah, that was really important to them, especially after the Tarquinius Superbus. I think that was the last one, and after that they said, nope, no more kings.
Yeah.
That was the whole deal with Caesar, for example. But yeah, uh, but still the fact that they were emperors didn't really give them much immunity because, yep, that guy just offered us a little more money, and then you get his own bodyguards strangling him or stabbing him or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, so then the Senate might support the usurper. So somebody raises an army, claims to be emperor, and it's up to the Senate who's the actual
Yep.
emperor, but it also is up to whoever conquered Rome. So
Also,
like
yeah.
it's this kind of dance of it's so fascinating. I'm 100% going to run a game during ancient Rome because I'm like that. This is the juice for me. This is what gets me excited.
Oh yeah, and I mean, people do such weird stuff that fantasy doesn't even begin. I've been researching some stuff for my uh, early modern game, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to need all the content warnings for this, all of
Yeah,
them. So it's like,
yeah, yeah. Like for me, like the fantasy elements, and this is why I like my Atroxia setting the way it is. I get plenty of drama out of just saying the fantasy element is the stuff we don't understand. So we're out here doing normal, real human imperialism, colonialism, corporatism, all of those things. And then out in the forest is, crazy nonsense stuff. But we just don't deal with it. Or if we do it only when it's become a huge problem. But other than that, we leave it alone. So the adventurers are the people who live in both worlds. They are the heroes, so they go to the city and see all the political machinations of the empire, or the republic, or whatever, and then they
the
go into the
people stuff.
forest, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then they go into the forest and they see, oh, these are the lizard folks, the goblin. They are all fighting this own sort of territorial conflict, and there's dragons and things, and that's all happening here. And neither of these things want to acknowledge the existence of the other, but the players are the ones stepping between. And now you can sort of have this carte blanche to tell any kind of story you want, really, and have them all play or not play together.
Okay, but when you're saying the people stuff in the city, it's not just humans, right? Because I know that you've got elves and halflings and at least one
Yeah,
mouse person.
yeah. There's a mouse person. All kinds of weird stuff in the cities. Um, it's a dance to it, but there may be horrible monsters in the cities. But I don't know. It's like it's a different genre of fantasy, I guess. I tend to separate areas by like genres of fantasy. So if you're in the city, the monsters that you're fighting are probably something that belongs in Penny Dreadful or
Mhm.
Jekyll and Hyde or
Oh
Van
yeah.
Helsing even, right? So that's the kind of stuff that you might fight in Blackguard. But then if you go out into the forest, you might get the tribe of kobolds, which maybe wouldn't belong as much inside the main city.
Mhm.
But you get goblin gangsters instead.
Oh yeah. So I think it's more of a case of how they're presented or how they behave rather than what they are. For example, if you go back to this,
Yeah.
the giant with the Gatling gun, it's like,
Yeah, you could play with you could stretch the meaning of these things. Hang on, I'll send you this is my favorite piece from the entire broadsheets. It's the Goblin Gang.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is for me. This is like moi. You go okay. There isn't a tribe of goblins who have like got scimitars and stuff, but there is a bunch of goblins sitting by a brick wall. They're smoking their cigars. I'm going, hey, capiche? They're
They'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
yeah, exactly. I'm always just, getting inspired is all about like finding the thing that makes you laugh, like gets you excited.
Hmm.
Uh, that's the juice for me. You're whatever makes you go, hee 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 and laugh to yourself. Like in the I'm trying to remember in the first issue, for instance, we had this conflict on the train, and it was just the thing of like, how do we make that? How do I get excited by that? Like, we're on a train and there is a conflict that's going to start. How is that an adventure? And then the thing that sort of cracks the idea wide open is that we go, the train is 2 hours, 2 hour ride, and every 10 minutes, we're going to write something interesting that happens. That means that it is now the job of the adventure writer who gets to suddenly have fun
Hmm.
trying to think of if the players do nothing, what's happening? And then the DM has a different job and they get to get excited by their job, which is I know what's going to happen if the players do nothing. I'm now going to tell the players what's happening, and I get the job of finding out how these two create a story in the middle, right? And obviously, the players get to have fun because they're watching all this happen. They go, "When do we step in? Is it now? Is it in a bit? Do we pick this side or that side?" Um,
And
so you're always
actually,
trying to just get people excited. You know what I mean?
yeah, and actually, that adventure in particular has a hard time limit that's built into the beginning that makes even the players know that okay, no, this is going to end very at a given point in time. We have X amount of time to do
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I love that stuff. And then we play with that. So that's all the dungeon turn stuff, right? So in the second issue, it's a haunted house, and the haunted house doesn't have a hard time limit, but the hauntings get worse the longer you stay in it. So I think it's like every 10 minutes you roll to see if something bad happens, and if you get the same thing twice, something so those are the hauntings, something bad happens. If you get the same haunting twice, you get a phantasm or a phantasmal event or something it's called, and that's like a worse thing. And then every time you get another identical haunting, you go get a worse phantasm. There's a list of 4, and they just get worse. So eventually you fight the ghost. If you spend too long in the house and haven't figured out why the house is haunted, at the end you fight the ghost. And that's losing, but you still get to fight the ghost and you might win. But it's changing the conditions of the test. This is sort of where the fun as an adventure writer comes in, is you go, how do I make it so that there's a lose condition? And the lose condition is still fun because the player doesn't want to just sit there while the DM goes and then you die and then you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you make it so that it's like that's the nail biting combat, but you don't have to do it. You could solve the haunt before then by making sure you don't spend enough time to get repeats 4 times, which theoretically could happen after 50 minutes of crawling, but it could also be after 4 hours.
Because it's
Like,
based on a random thingy. Yeah.
yeah,
So I get two things out of this. So first one is building in multiple exit conditions.
yeah,
So not all of which might be optimal, and the other one is slowly building up pressure.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you're going to do something in one night. I think the best way to do it is to make sure that the players are getting more and more and more tense over the course of the night, and that's sort of, I think, the main thing fifth edition is good at, because you're spending resources,
Mhm.
which means that the longer you're stuck in a situation, the scarier it should get. So you're walking down a road, 10 goblins jump out of a bush, great, fireball, we keep walking. And this is sort of the boring version of it, but if you encounter 10 goblins in 10 minutes time, and then another 10 and another 10 and another 10, over time this will become a very scary prospect. So the fun as a adventure writer is trying to figure out, how do I do that except not have it be 10 goblins every 10 minutes? How do I change the shape of it? So in the haunted house, it's time which gets to hauntings, and hauntings get to phantasms, phantasms get to the final fight. But you can also explore the house, and the house has encounters in it. It's got mysteries in it. It
Mhm.
has puzzles. It's got these scarabs things that are like different kind of puzzle elements. The one that, for instance, I'm talking about is trying to make me laugh. One of them goes, it's in a box, and if you open the box, you make a save, and if you fail to save, you return the box to where you found it. So we play tested that one. We could not stop laughing as players would sort of go, "What's that?" And I was going, what did you do? I was like, oh, sorry, I was going to look at this box. Huh. And then they went, okay, nobody opened the box. That's one of the scarabs. That's one of the puzzle pieces. So they take the box and then they go explore the dungeon. Then they go to the attic. They find another scarab, and then that scarab is like nearly killing them through its puzzle mechanics. So one of the players takes the box and goes, "Hey, you, take this down to the basement." And the player goes, "Got it. What's in here?" And then they slowly walk back to the cabinet where the because they kept failing the save. They were like, surely one of us, it's DC 13 or something. Surely one of us is going to succeed this thing. No. They, in the middle of the most tense situation, one of the players is slowly walking back to put the box back on the shelf it belongs on.
Yeah, that's a heck of a mechanic.
Yeah. Can't, like, that just guaranteed to get everybody laughing. I love that sort of nonsense. I just, yeah, I have so much fun with it.
And I mean, one thing I like about this setting is that it's definitely got hilarious in places like again the Goblin Gangsters, but then you've
Yeah.
got some also some fairly dark places, and you know there's a nice flow to it. It's not like a flatline.
No, and it's also important to me that, you know, I spend a lot of time telling people how I run the game,
Hmm.
and sometimes there are rules attached to that. But it's also important to me that the stuff we make isn't prescriptive. So if I, you know, I use, for instance, excursion resting, which is a different way to sort of handle that resource drain thing.
Hmm.
But the adventures we write don't assume you're necessarily doing that. And the same with, you know, we have these dungeon turns, but the adventures we write don't necessarily assume that you like them. So it's each thing for me has to stand on its own, but it's allowed to reference the other stuff. So it's allowed to go, you know, if you're using this thing, here's how I sort of adjust one or the other to make this kind of work. But it's also just up to you if you like it and if you want to use it. And I think that is I think, you know, because there are no two identical games of
Hmm.
any RPG ever. It just doesn't happen. And everybody's got different tastes, different players, different settings, different rules. So for me, it's just sort of trying to make sure that both with the YouTube videos, but also with the stuff we write, is that it's like, hey, it's up to you what you like, what you want to use. And it's not my job to tell you to do it my way. I'm just going to tell you why I do it my way. And then what you like, use that. If you don't like stuff, that's fine. Like that's normal. That's what being a dungeon master is, right?
So you keep everything fairly modular like that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you wanna, like, I use firearms in my setting, but if you want to run Blackguard and you don't want to use firearms, you can do that. Like the stat blocks have them on them, but you know that's entirely up to you. Same with if you don't want to use the excursion resting or arcane forge or any of those things. Like 100%.
Okay, so speaking of the arcane forge, I've got the that's a hell of a
Oh
vocabulary.
yeah, wow, you got everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I just went and supermarkets run before the stream. I did have all the broadsheets downloaded, but not all the other items.
Yeah, this one's the first one we did in layout. It was a lot of
Oh,
fun
sorry.
because the arcane forge, because it was mostly me trying to sort of port something over that I missed from Pathfinder. Because there's a lot of stuff I don't miss about playing Pathfinder, and there's a reason I haven't gone back to it. But there is some specific sets that I'm like, oh man, I really wish I could do one of these things. And for the Arcane Forge, it was like I want to go make magic items. I want as a player, I want to be able to just chuck things together. And as a DM, I want to be able to go, oh, I'm going to give him some magic item, but there are only like 8 magic swords in the core rules, and I'm not going to do one of them. So what am I going to do? Well, you know, here's a way to sort of pick them. And now when we're writing the broadsheets, we'll use them. We'll just open up the Arcane Forge and go make an item real quick and stick it in, and works perfectly fine. And it's quick, takes no time at all. And I've done it at the table in the middle of a session. I've been like, man, I should put a magic weapon in here, and then just roll some dice on the Arcane Forge. Have a lot of fun with that.
This one, I remember the video about this, and that I think that was one of my
Yeah.
favorite storytelling videos from your channel, I think.
Yeah, the one where the player gets their hand on the Book
Mhm.
of Wild Darkness. That was iconic. Like there was so many things that he did with that book that we didn't talk about. Because he would sort of the character would lock himself in his room on the inn and would be reading the book, and players would like try and sneak a look. At one point, another player had gotten a nightmare as a mount, which can go ethereal. So he had been able to go look at him in the middle of the night and see that he's reading through this book and studying it. And like it's full of these evil spells. This is there's a lot of stuff from the Book of Wild Darkness that I sort of converted just because those are so weird. Like there one of the spells in there is like spread of savagery, which is ninth level, and it just makes massive area, like some miles, makes it so that everyone within that has to like make a save or go barbaric. Like it's a city destroying spell.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like give it to your villains. You're gonna have a good time.
Okay, so let's see. And you've also got the opposite here, Vessels of Light.
Yeah. So in this is I didn't make a video about this one, but the player who had gotten their book their hands on the bad book, there was another player who wanted to sort of counteract him, and he ended up creating a magic item, pair of magic items over the course of that adventure, and they were like over the course of years, and that was the hammer Lightbringer, which was I think it's obviously a reference to World of Warcraft, and then the Book of the Holy Conduit, which is this sort of good book, and it has these protective spells. I'm trying to remember. There's the one he used a lot was the sixth level one. I think it's called like Bastion of Faith, which sort of creates a bubble that nobody can like get into or out of, like bad guys, as long as you don't do anything violent. So if a fight were about to break out and they were like, we can't take this, they stick on the Bastion of Faith and then they are protected in the bubble.
So kind of like a super sanctuary kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Uh,
sanctuary for a group. So yeah, good fun. I love I design I can't stop myself from doing this stuff. It's great.
okay, so Bubble Heart.
Oh, Lord.
So apart from this, this run of publishing things, mm,
Mhm.
before we move on, there's one question I did want to ask you. Are you planning to publish the broadsheet in a book form at some point? Because I would love to have that on my shelf.
I yes. So I've been talking to someone about the idea of getting a print like magazine thing for it, so that they'd just be each issue could be in print. But then the problem we run into there is that when you do something in print, it needs to be a certain number of pages, and it needs to be
Mhm.
divisible by either 4 or 8.
Yeah.
So many of the broadsheets would we need to add or remove pages to get to one of the integers. So we'll see if we can make that work. I'm confident we could, but we'll have to figure it out because for some of them, it's quite a bit of difference. The pages. The other things that one day I would absolutely love. I have no idea how to do this. I've never run a Kickstarter or anything, but I would love to take all this and make like a setting book and venture book, or maybe a player book and a DM book or something like. Because already we're up to hang on, including next month's issue, it's up to 260 pages, and that's issue 5, and we're gonna do like 14, I think. So it's gonna be too big for one book. Like even it's gonna be bigger than Tolus if it were to be one book. So, and I've got Tolus, and that thing's heavy. Uh, so I would love to do that, but we don't have any sort of proper plans for exactly how that's gonna work.
And you mentioned that the next one is going to be the printing press. And do you have any, I don't know, spoilers for what's coming up ahead?
Yeah, hang on. I can show you. Do you want to see the Uh, 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 do you want to see the main monster?
I think I would, yes. I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat wants to as well.
This is the bad guy of the adventure. If you're gonna play this, don't look at this. But
Okay, if
this
you're
is the
planning to
bad guy
play
of the
this,
adventure.
close your eyes, kids.
Look at that. That's the Vermin King. This is the main bad guy. So it's going to be the printing press, and it's going to be, all of them are 3 chapters. The first one's the adventure, which is called The Return of the Vermin King, and it's sort of a Doctor Who episode. This thing has taken over museum, and the players are invited along with a bunch of NPCs to that museum.
Okay.
And then slowly but surely, the Vermin King is going to start picking off the NPCs and adding them to his hive of swarm puppets. And
Okay.
it's up to the players to solve it before it's too late. Then there is the burrow with the print ward, which has an interconnected series of adventures that lead into issue number 6, which is going to be the sort of big finale of like the mid finale of this arc that we're doing, that starts off in issue 1. It's going to bring back the MysticArts and the Hidden Hand in the next issue, so that's all getting set up in the burrow. And then in the 3rd chapter, we're doing species, new playable species for players. I'm going to send you, hang on, I'm going to send you here. You should get this frog guy. This is the Anurian playable frog guy.
Ah, looks friendly.
Right?
Yeah.
I got 6 of these. There's a frog, a toad, a mouse, a rat, a bird, and a fox. People that you can play. And we've got a bit of
I saw the sketches of the fox people on on your Patreon.
Patreon.
They look really interesting.
And it's a lot of that sort of stuff. With the fox thing, like we spent ages on trying to get the look right, and we do this where because our lead artist Brimmer, she's from video games. She did concept art before this, and what that means is she's very used to the idea of working not just with other people, but with me on something I don't know about yet. So I'll go, there's a fox person. What does that look like? And then she'll start drawing sketches, and we'll sort of slowly try and find our way towards it. Through the sketches. And what's great about this being a PDF and in print is that I can include the sketches. I can just add sketches onto pages or do stuff like that, like to spruce things up a little bit. So I think I included almost all the work in progress sketches in the broadsheet as well, just to get extra art on there and sort of give you an inside look at, like, you don't have to, your frog guy doesn't have to look like this. They can look any way you like. Just sort of have fun with it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Give me 1 second because I just got lost in all the buttons and stuff.
Many buttons.
Yeah, many buttons. And apart from all this, you're also working on an actual play, right? And I know that you were up till about 3 this morning, just finishing off the last session.
Yes, we did stay up a little late, so we finished up the last episode of the actual play yesterday, filming. So they're not out yet. There are 2 episodes in, like, unedited early access episodes up on Patreon for journeyman and expert tier. And we're going to slowly work our way through this. What we really want to do is we want to give it, like, all the editing that we could possibly muster. We want to make sure that we make it as presentable as possible. And that means that they're not going to come out for some months, but we're now done filming them and we're going to start editing them. And that's a behemoth of a work ahead. And that's sort of why we decided to put it up on early access, for people specifically who want to see it early and get a look at it as the sausage is being made.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember you were talking about how much storage you need to get for that, and that was what?
Yeah. So the camera I'm filming on right now, that thing, we film with those things in 4K and in RAW, so like gray RAW video log, it's called. And that gives us a lot of flexibility in post to, like, color grade and stuff. So I'll be able to tweak the color depending on the mood of the scene. But that means that if we shoot a whole session of these, and it's 3 cameras doing that, that's about 1 terabyte per session. So knowing that we were probably going to do about 6 to 8 sessions, that means we needed 8 terabytes of SSD storage that we can because we can't store it on a computer, so it can't be hard drives. It has to be SSDs so that we can work right off of them. And they have to be fast and they have to have good speed. So that ended up being one of the most expensive things we bought actually for the show. Like the cameras were pricey, and then second up is the hard drives we needed because those things are ruinously expensive. But it's the for the quality that we want to make. That was the bargain that we struck. But I'm really excited about it. It's a lot of work, and it's set in Blackguard. It's set in the era that the broadsheets take place, and it features the sort of classical, what I consider to be classic to my setting of like political intrigue and mystery and all that sort of stuff. And I can't wait for people to see it, but I'm also really anxious because I've never DM'd on camera, and I'm certain people have a certain idea in their mind about what that looks like, and I'm just a bloke.
Did you find it to be very different when you're DMing on camera versus when you're just DMing for your game?
I found starting to be harder. Like whenever I'm starting a session of D&D, that's the hardest thing I ever do. Just going from we're all friends to now I'm Mr. Dungeon Master, like that sort of phase transition is really tough. And it's way tougher on camera because now I'm like I have to go record all the cameras, I have to go click record on the mics. And then I have to make sure that I, start with a hook. The YouTube brain is on because I'm like, I have to start with a hook and go right into the scene and that kind of stuff. But then once we'd been playing for about 5 to 10 minutes, it was the same. I was just a dungeon master. And I've heard people talk about this that do actual plays, and I never believe them. But all my players reported the same thing. They were like, yeah, once we started, we didn't notice that the music was off because if we're going to edit, we can't have music. And we didn't notice. And we were just role-playing and doing a scene together. And then by the time it's time to call a break, then YouTuber brain goes on again, and I'm like, okay, hang on, let me make sure I get to a good ending, and we'll pick it up next time, and then we'll take a break. And the break is longer because it's tiring. I found like afterwards, we discovered we were more tired after a recorded episode session than like an unrecorded one. I don't know what that is.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah. So like after we'd done one session of it, we were all just like we were beat. We were, no way we're going to be able to do anything afterwards. So it sort of consumes the entire day because I'm prepping up until it, and then we're setting up all the gear, getting all the tripods and everything up and stuff like that because we don't have a permanent setup.
Yeah, you have to set everything up and take it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the lights have to get set up and everything. If I do this again, I want to get it like I want to get the cameras all just plugged into a computer and then hit record on OBS and then like sync everything on the computer because right now every episode needs to get synced manually, and that takes maybe about a day or two to take all the different audio tracks and camera tracks and make sure they all sync up. It's a brutal amount of work.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
But that's this is we wanted to give it a go, and we're excited about the outcome. And I think it's going to look really cool, and I think it's going to be exciting to show people the setting that many of them have been reading up until this point. But if we're doing season 2, then that's something we're talking about already, and we've talked about when we were scheduling this. But that's we're gonna have to figure out a way to do it easier because this was too hard.
Like, you're just going to wreck yourselves otherwise, no matter how much you enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna have to drill them into the walls or something. Like I now understand why Critical Role has a truss in the ceiling, because that way they can just plug everything in and then click and then they go. Yeah, good God.
Okay, and again, so the broadsheet is only available on your Patreon at the moment, and is this going to be on YouTube, or is it going to be a preview on Patreon, or how do you plan to
the actual
put this out there? Yeah.
So right now, whenever AB finishes syncing an episode and like cleaning up the audio a little bit, those go immediately to the early access patrons, the expert and journeyman tier patrons, and she's going to do that for the whole show, and then go back to episode 1 and edit it. So that means taking out the pauses, and we're not going to show all the cameras at the same time. We're going to cut between each camera. Then she's going to do that for all the episodes, and those are going to go up for early access on Patreon, I think. And then when we're done with the whole show and it's all up on Patreon, we'll take them all and we'll schedule them so they release, once a week over the course of however many weeks it is. And they're going to be like 1 to 2 hour long. They're going to be short because we do just each episode is a session before or after the break. So they're going to be. We want them to be snappy. We don't want people to get the feeling of like, oh, I haven't. I missed last episode and already I'm 2 episodes, 8 hours behind. So I want to make sure that the episodes are short and snappy and that you can watch them ideally on your lunch break. Maybe you could cheat your lunch break for an extra 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I never, I never watch any Critical Role episodes because it's like, how many hours do I have to sit through?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I was watching Critical Role like up to date for a bit, and then I got really busy with the broadsheet, or I something came up, and suddenly I was like 16 hours behind, and I was like, okay, I don't know. We'll see. I'll try, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but people are really into it. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
we'll give that a go. I'm like, my favorite actual plays like Dimension 20. Those feel snappier to me. The episodes are shorter. It's easier. I watched several seasons of Dimension 20. The Crown of Candy, for instance. I love the Crown of Candy. So I'm excited about sharing this. But it's a little nerve-wracking. But yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't think it's more nerve-wracking than say, I don't know, deciding that you're going to do this full time, for example.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's been a weird few months now. So yeah, we'll just have to see. People are asking about the broadsheet in print, and I'm like, I never thought I'd be here. That's hilarious to me.
Moving on to something else. You're also running Dungeon Mayhem, yeah? Do you want to tell us a
Yes.
bit about it?
Yeah, there's a collaboration event for people who do like D&D YouTube or RPG YouTube that we run this 5-room dungeon event called Dungeon Mayhem. It's the last week in May, so I think it's the 20th to 25th, if I remember correctly. Let me double check.
Wait, I think that's the Dungeon Gem, though, not the Dungeon Mayhem, yeah?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, it's Dungeon Jam. The Dungeon Mayhem is so for all of May. I do dungeon videos on my channel because I think there are too many people who are skeptical of dungeons, and I love dungeons. I'm always trying to convince people that actually dungeons are easy and fun and exciting. So I'll be doing a dungeon video through all of May, and at the end of that, so there's going to be the Dungeon Jam, which is all these creators. There's going to be a starter set for Atraxia called Crown of the Fungal Queen, which is going to be like 15 dungeons in there that are going to be sort of in my setting. It's going to be more like Lewis and Clark fight owlbears rather than the Sherlock Holmes of Blackguard. And 5 of those adventures are up for a contest. So anybody who wants to participate in this sort of event and is not a creator, or even if you are allowed to, we encourage you to submit a dungeon for one of those 5. And I'll put up a forum post. Maybe you have to put it up. Oh, you've done it.
I just not ready.
Look at that. So on that forum post, there's going to be like you have to pick which one you're submitting for, and it's limited to 750 words and some kind of map. The map doesn't need to be professionally made or beautiful or any of those things. It just needs to be a work in progress map that is clear enough that like the reader of the dungeon knows what you're referencing when you say they go into room A or room B or whatever. And whoever wins is going to get a year free of MysticArts. So they're going to be able to watch the whole actual play before it comes out. They're going to get the broadsheets and all of that, all of the stuff that's on the Patreon. An hour-long meeting with me to talk about whatever you want, whether it's DM advice, game design feedback, YouTube stuff. Knock yourselves out. And in addition, we are going to take the adventure that you submit, the winning 5 adventures, one for each of the dungeons. We're going to take them. We're going to get art done for them. We're going to get a map done for them. And we're going to put that all together. And that finished product will belong to you. In return, we get to put it in our starter set. But you can go sell it on DM's Guild or give it away or whatever you want to do. And then we both get to all collaborate on this together, and I'm really excited about that because there's I just want everybody to get a chance to show off their dungeons, and I want creators to be showing off their creations as well, and then you could go check out all your favorite creators and end up with hopefully a cool adventure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that one I'm going to set out since it's specifically a Dungeons and Dragons thing, and I haven't touched Dungeons and Dragons since third edition really. So I leave that to people who know what they're doing. But
Yeah.
I will definitely be taking part in Dungeon Jam again.
Yeah. It's Dungeon Jam's been amazing. There are so many creators in the server right now that I really hope that we get a good outing this year. It's a lot of fun, and for that, like that's not 5th edition specific or Atroxia specific. That's just go make a 5 room dungeon. There were some really cool ones last year from lots of people. Some of them were like crafts, and there were art ones, and there was a time travel one. Like they're insane. Go check out that playlist if you haven't.
Yeah, I mean that and yeah, the whole server has been really well promoting collaborations and that kind of thing. So yeah, some good stuff came
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so let me see. I think we talked about that again. So do you have any projects apart from? I know that sort of projects already, but do you have anything else that you would like to do, for example, or that you're planning to do, but yeah, not just yet?
No, I don't know. These are the big things at the moment. Crown of the Fungal Queen is the sort of big one that's going to be the biggest product that I've ever worked on for the Patreon. We're talking about like 30 something art pieces for it. It's going to be huge, and it's a risk too because the thing that we see from the sales data on Patreon is that our adventures they sell really poorly.
Really?
So it's probably going to be a lot of wasted effort and money, like financially speaking. But I just want to make it. Like I don't really care. I want to make it and I want to try it and I want to see if we can make something cool, and hopefully somebody else gets a use out of it. Because I'm really passionate about this stuff, and for a lot of it, it's we take our wins where we can get them, and then we spend those wins on doing what we want to do, and I think that's where my heart lies, and that's also what the Dungeon Jam is, for instance. Like in terms of YouTube view count or analytics or whatever, the Dungeon Jam doesn't really do much for me, but I love spending time in that space with those creators. I love talking to those creators, and I love seeing the attention that like they manage to get out of it as they work to help each other out and collaborate with one another and build up that community together. So I'm incredibly proud of the stuff that those folks have done.
I mean, you should be. I mean, like you've been doing a lot of work bringing that thing together and keeping it together.
Yeah, and not by myself. Like it's Gobi and Misty and James and Jason as well.
Yeah, they've been doing
It's
great work as moderators. Yeah.
yeah. I'm so blessed to be able to work with such fantastic people that I couldn't be happier with it. And that's the same for the MysticArts team and everything we do. It's been a blast.
Okay, so I really don't want to keep you too long because I know that again you've had a really, really long night and you've got a bunch of stuff to do. But before we go, would you like to look at some of the stuff that people have been posting in the showcase?
Yeah, absolutely. What showcase?
Let's bring it on.
Ooh, community showcase.
Yeah. So let's see. Campaign Terrain has been working on his ship sales.
Oh, like actual cloth sales?
Yep.
That looks cool.
That thing is looking huge. I mean, that's a 28mm miniature there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you do lots of crafts and stuff. So I assume your community is really into that. Oh, look
Oh
at
yeah,
that.
mostly. But again, remember that we craft things to play with, so adventures and modules and rules are always fun to have.
Yeah.
They just give us more terrible ideas to craft things. Oh, good lord. Okay, this one is
Not a
from.
giant.
It's
What's he holding?
I think it's a fighting platform for goblins.
Yeah, like a howdah or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that's dope. And I might have to watch this on the stream because it's so much sharper. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah. Oh, and there they are on it.
yeah, and I see
God,
that.
that's great.
I think
I
all
don't
these are.
have whatever gene is that makes people do this kind of awesome stuff. I don't have it. I'm terrible at working with my hands. So when I see stuff like this, I'm amazed.
Yeah, they're just
Wow.
seeing all this. The platform stuff is all built up from. Okay, that's a chain, obviously, but I'm going to say that those are ice cream sticks, popsicle sticks, plastic shields from different kits. Ah, this is good stuff.
Yeah. There's some like wraith or something there in between them. Or is it a
What?
flag? That thing in the middle, is that a flag?
I
Yeah, I
think,
think
yeah,
it's
it's
a
a flag.
flag.
It's a flag.
That's cool.
Okay, and also from loosely collected, there's this fish space
Fish
person.
guy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. The colors are amazing.
Oh yeah.
Great paint.
So he was saying earlier that he painted this for some kind of competition or something, but unfortunately UPS got it got it through late. Which is a pity because
Oh,
this looks amazing.
no. Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yes, I really like the way the gloss finish
Yeah.
works on the skin. It's a really nice touch.
Where are you getting that mini? Is that like kit bashed or
I don't think so,
is it
but yeah. Loosely collected. If you're still in the chat, what mini is that? What's the manufacturer?
Old Grenadier Goblin War Giant?
That's the War Giant from earlier.
Okay.
Succulent coffee stir sticks. Okay.
Coffee. Yeah, coffee stir. Okay. Curious what this one is.
Campaigner is saying that the sales are silk, nothing but the finest for my little plastic idiots.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about this one. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of fish person mini before.
And it's not like that's Hero Forge or anything. Like
No,
those
no, no, I don't
props
think
that
so.
exist.
I mean, the proportions on Hero Forge miniatures are quite different.
Yeah. You usually are able to recognize them on the site. But also just that claw thing isn't on there. Like I'm about 90% certain.
Okay, let's see. I post stuff on Instagram to keep the work in progress shows going. Yeah. But yeah. So loosely collected, we can tell us what mini this is and where you got it from and where we can get our hands on them. Oh, okay. It was a metal mini sent out by Badger Games. It has not been released yet.
Ah,
Ooh, so it's a preview. Gotcha.
cool. I have to go look at Badger Games. Gonna buy me some minis.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else in there. No, that was the last of it.
These are cool. They have like Ottomans and British Infantry Mustache Command. Look at that. That's
Yay!
amazing.
Where the Badger Games was?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to look at them later. Otherwise, I'll just be drooling over the miniatures. And I am not
Yeah,
supposed.
this
I
was
am
a
not.
mistake.
I am not supposed to buy any more miniatures.
Yeah. Worst thing, that ever happened to me is that I now have miniature money. That's been terrible for, everything I wanna do.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I had gotten a bunch of Kickstarters around 2015, I want to say, and I was like, yeah, no more.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
miniatures from the 90s that I still have to paint.
My flatmate does all the painting. He's got one of these sort of black cupboards behind me. He's got
Mhm.
one of them full of unpainted gray plastic. And
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's also the reason that I decided not to get a 3D printer because otherwise it would be, yeah, men found buried under a pile of strange
yeah,
gray little men.
yeah.
Okay, so Daddy, thanks again for the talk today. It was a lot of
Thank you
fun
so
hanging out.
much.
Do you have
Yeah.
anything else you want to add before we bump out?
No, this has been fantastic. I've talked about all my stuff ad nauseum. I'm surprised that there are still people here. Frankly, thanks so much, everybody.
No, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for again hosting all those community events and the
Of course.
sharing the stuff. And yeah, Cross, that's a bad idea. And thank you, Lisa. So yeah, definitely check out the broadsheet on the MysticArts Patreon, and we'll be back next week with Rich from Renegade Rose. In the meantime, you'll have a lovely
Ooh.
week, and thanks again. Bye.
See you, everybody. Bye.